Klitschko enters each fight with one thing in mind, and that is to knock out his opponent. There he is. We'll see Klitschko make his second defense of the title, which he won from Englishman Herbie Hyde via second-round knockout back in June. Klitschko, working on his Ph.D. thesis in sports sciences, is from the Ukraine but makes his home in Hamburg. So he was the crowd favorite, clearly the crowd favorite against ex-Marine Obed Sullivan from Mississippi in his first world title shot. Some key questions going in. Could Sullivan withstand the fast-starting Klitschko's early assault and take him into the later rounds? And is Klitschko the most legitimate puncher in the heavyweight division? Let's take a look at the tail of the tape on that note. And while Klitschko is 3 years younger than Sullivan, it's his imposing height that really grabs your attention. The 6'8" Klitschko 5 inches taller than Sullivan, who goes 6'3". Klitschko 17 pounds heavier. The reach is the same, and the key unified rules: no standing 8-count, no 3 knockdown. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt occurs before the end of the 4th round, the fight is declared a technical draw. If it happens after the end of the 4th, they go to the scorecards. So let's look at our same-day coverage of Klitschko versus Sullivan for the WBO Heavyweight Championship from Hamburg, Germany. Here's how we called it. We close in on the WBO Heavyweight Championship. Vitali Klitschko defending his title against Obed Sullivan. Klitschko, an overwhelming favorite, fighting in front of his hometown fans at Alsterdorfer Sports Hall in Hamburg, Germany. There's Obed Sullivan, says he's in the best shape of his life. It's a must-win fight. He says he'll retire if he loses, Bobby. How about keys to victory?
Well, for Obed Sullivan, he's got to close the gap and nullify that huge jab. And when he gets inside, work hard, especially to the body, chop down the 6'8" giant.
Giant is right, as the hometown guy goes 6'8". And the introductions of Obed Sullivan, who does have a lot of experience against tall fighters with long reaches like Michael Grant and Keith McKnight, to name a couple. They were 6'6". He has fought all the young up-and-comers like Grant and Derek Jefferson and Hasim Rahman. And the trainer for Obed Sullivan is introduced. That is Chuck McGregor. Sullivan 32-5-1, 1 no decision, 1 no contest with 22 knockouts, rated number 8 by the WBO. And here is Mr. Klitschko. Vitali is a fast starter, aggressive from the opening bell. Bobby, as you know, a prolific puncher with a huge right hand. How about keys to victory for Klitschko, who is undefeated in 26 fights, all by knockout?
First and foremost, he has to use a strong jab. Has to use it out there not just for power and points, but to set up the big shots and keep the fight at his range and dictate the pace. Big men don't want to start out too quickly. They tend to tire in the later rounds.
He won the title in June with a second-round knockout of Englishman Herbie Hyde. Made 1 title defense, a 3rd-round TKO against American Ed Mahone. There's Klitschko's trainer, Fritz Sedunek. And they will make all kinds of introductions here in Hamburg, very courteous. Alongside Vitali is his brother, just about the same height as you look at Fritz. Alongside Vitali is his brother, part of the Fighting Klitschko family. And that is Vladimir Klitschko on the right of your screen. He is the European heavyweight champ as we speak. He's also a former Olympic gold medalist. So the Fighting Klitschkos, and we certainly look forward to seeing these two guys fighting on Showtime in the near future. And they are all business, as you can see, very, very serious.
They look like the Twin Towers. Look at them.
Don't they?
Wow. Almost look identical. Don't they? Look at the face. They're almost twins.
Vitali is 28. He was born in Kiev, the Ukraine. As mentioned earlier, closing in on his Ph.D. in sports sciences at the University of Kiev. And there is Joe Cortez, who makes his home in Las Vegas. He'll be the third man of the ring. The referee gets polite applause from the crowd in Hamburg, Germany. And they'll now introduce the judges. Everybody gets involved here in the introductions. Larry Hazard Jr. of the United States, Victor Salomon of Mexico, and a local judge from Germany, Axel Zilke. So we are getting set for Vitali Klitschko and Obed Sullivan, as they'll have the final instructions from Joe Cortez.
We went over the rules in the dressing room. This for the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the world. I expect a good, clean fight. Give me good sportsmanlike conduct. Obey my commands at all times. Remember, I'm fair, but I'm firm. All right? Punches here a little high here in the trunks. Punches here still good. All right? Touch him up.
Good luck.
Fair but firm, Joe Cortez. Vitali Klitschko turned pro in 1996, 210 amateur fights, 195 wins, 80 by knockout. The 1995 military world champion. His second defense of the WBA heavyweight crown. A man mountain at 6'8", fast starting, aggressive, heavy puncher against Obed Sullivan. Obed Sullivan ranked number 8 by the WBO. When on his game, he is a smart, well-schooled boxer who likes to stay busy and throw sharp combinations. Sullivan is physically strong, a good body puncher, but perhaps his biggest weakness, he lacks one-punch knockout power, which is something that Klitschko certainly has.
You saw Sullivan come out with his hands real high. He had his hands up in the corner. He is concerned about the size and power of this big man.
That's about the only way you can be when you walk out to a guy that's had 26 knockouts in 26 fights. Your hands better be up. I mean, that's to begin with.
Want to just mention that our coverage is being provided by Premier over in Germany. We thank the folks at Premier. Obed Sullivan on the right of your screen says he doesn't want to be relegated to the role of an opponent. This is his first world title shot. Well, if he can get by Vitali Klitschko, they'll throw that role out.
Upset of the year also. I mean, I don't think they give him that much chance, and in Germany probably no chance.
Is this a true barometer, a good test, Bobby, as he rocks him right off the ropes here in the first round? Is this a true test of how good Klitschko is?
You know, it's a fair test. Sullivan's not maybe at his very best right now. He may be a year or two past his best days. Some say yes, some say no. Sullivan's very ring-wise. He's got the Americanized style, so he's going to show moves to Klitschko. He hasn't, but right now the heaviness of the punches, the weight behind Klitschko right now is making a difference.
Sullivan is 31. Klitschko is 3 years younger. Klitschko has 5 first-round knockouts. Just for the record, 23 of his 26 knockouts have occurred in 3 rounds or less. He has never fought past the 6th round in 26 pro fights.
He's throwing punches like a man that's used to knocking people out. They're hard, and they're meant to hurt. He's not throwing any powder puff in there now. He's not just feeling out a guy. You just as soon take him out in the first round.
Nobody has ever gone the distance against Vitali Klitschko in the blue trunks with the gold stripes.
Sullivan's fighting like a man that's standing under a mountain waiting for an avalanche. He is standing under a mountain, kind of, and the avalanche is coming.
You know, he's not dealing well with the size, and Sullivan himself is not a small guy. He's 6'3", 6'8" is just unusual to see in the ring, moving this smoothly, boxing this well. He's throwing his jab out there, and it's not a slow, lumbersome jab. It's pretty stiff, pretty quick, but the reach is not that disparate. So Sullivan's got to use his jab 2 or 3, step in, fire the right hand to the body, get inside the range of that power.
Well, we haven't seen the usual all-out vicious assault by Vitali Klitschko in the first round. More of a feeling out process, although he did rock Sullivan here in the first round, but it was nothing too meaningful. Sullivan's best wins, a 7th round TKO over Keith McKnight, 12th round TKO over Levi Billups. So round 1 is in the books from Hamburg, Germany. Vitali Klitschko in the corner being attended to by Fritz Sedunek. We'll take a look at some of the action from the opening round.
Well, Klitschko's keeping Sullivan at bay. Sullivan can't keep his hands down, number 1. Number 2, he can't keep moving out. He's got to step to the side of that jab and come inside. Here, Klitschko just keeping him at bay. It's another look. Big jab stuffed outward. And look, Sullivan's already headed backwards a little bit. Second one, he's not going to compromise the distance and get inside Klitschko's power. moving backwards. Here's the last look from the outside. The jab in the right hand. Another jab, falling a little short, but here. Another jab that Sullivan walks right into him. That jab has got good power, good distance. Sullivan's got to cut that distance down.
Well, you see the wingspan on this guy? He's got the wingspan of a condor. You see something that long, if he's got a good jab, who's going to get close to that guy? Who?
A 79-inch reach for Vitali Klitschko. And Ferdy, you know about his right-hand slugging power. Do you think he has above-average head and body movement for a big man?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm looking at a typical German fighter or European fighter. I don't mean that disparagingly. They stand straight up. See, he just got hit by a jab, and they don't bend. It's like they don't have a hinge in the middle. They just stand straight up there and they throw from outside. There's no rhythm that we have, the certain American style of boxing. Consequently, they get hit a lot. This guy is just overpowering everybody because of his size and because he punches real hard. When he gets into the upper reaches of good boxing, we'll see what he's got.
To fight a guy like Klitschko, you have to assume a certain Joe Frazier type style and attitude, coming in, moving your head, moving your hands, blocking, punching, stuffing, smothering his big shots while banging him back, hitting him to the body, coming upstairs, making him pay for his mistakes.
You got to get under that jab. You got to get inside. Rocky Marciano, Joe Frazier, those kind of guys that got inside and worked on the body like they were hitting him with an axe. That will take care of this guy. But you know, where do you find those? I mean, there aren't that many around.
Few and far between. Can you make any comparisons thus far in the short time that you've seen Klitschko to an American fighter?
Yeah, he's as tall as Jess Willard. He's as tall as Primo Carnera, and not necessarily in their class either way.
Well, you know what? Right now it's hard to tell because it's still early in his career for us to really view him, engage him. This is the first reasonable talent besides Herbie Hyde. He stepped in. I've seen Hyde hold his own with a few, but then get whacked out by Riddick Bowe. This guy did the same thing very expeditiously, so we'll see.
And he put Herbie Hyde away in 2 rounds. Well, Klitschko in the blue has yet to put in a full night's work. If he does have a major weakness, it's in rounds. As mentioned earlier, he has never gone more than 6 full rounds, and he is not overly fast. He does rely primarily on the big right hand.
But if you watch here, Steve, Klitschko can walk in at his own pace, set the pace, dictate the pace, punch when he wants to punch, and not punch when he doesn't want to punch. For a big man like that to do that at will, he's going to wear you down. Got to make him work, got to make him expend energy, got to make him do things when he's not ready.
Yes, Sullivan has to somehow try to extend him into the later rounds, and we'll see if Klitschko, if that happens, can be effective in the later rounds.
Sullivan's just fighting a reacting fight. He's not fighting an aggressive fight. He's not trying to upset his tempo. He's reacting to what he's doing, and what he's doing is jabbing him to death right now. I mean, you know, so he's got to get off to, I'm going to take the punch and let's see what happens.
And every once in a while, Klitschko does get off with the big right hand. Let's see if he follows it up. Sullivan trying, obviously, and understandably so, to keep his distance from the 6'8" Klitschko. Just missed with the right at the bell, did Klitschko. A look at some of the folks in the crowd here at ringside enjoying the action. Big Vitali Klitschko fans.
Here's that jab. He can't stay. That's what's going to happen. He's going to hit with that overhand right. He cannot stay at that distance, Steve. He has to close the gap. The jab, once again, setting up the combinations for Klitschko. There's a double jab. Sullivan pulling away from it. Can't possibly hit Klitschko. And what does he do? He eats another right hand. He cannot pull away from that jab, Steve. He can't win the fight doing this.
So far, two rounds of rather uneventful fighting because Klitschko's dominating. He's having a ring workout. He's just coming out here and practicing his jab.
Yeah, it's been more or less target practice for Vitali Klitschko in the opening rounds. Klitschko sticking to his game plan, establishing his jab, but nothing overwhelming. We haven't seen the assault that we've heard so much about in the past.
But Bobby, doesn't watching this guy make you think of a lot of matches you'd like to make with him and several American? Isn't he going to be fun to watch? A heavyweight to watch?
He'll be terrific to watch against a number of heavyweight contenders from America and even a Lennox Lewis type champion from England. But he's big size. If he's learning and he's able to deliver these shots and move, it'll be terrific.
Klitschko again with the jab, looking to set up the overhand right. There's more head and body movement by Klitschko now. Klitschko very mechanical, very methodical. Just missed with the right. The crowd reacts, but it did nothing.
See, Sullivan's letting him rest when he wants to rest, not push him, not press him. There's going to be a time when he has to just walk forward with his hands up, block and punch, block and react, as my trainer Tommy Parks would say. As soon as the punch hits you, react to it, fire back, make him pay, make him feel some leather.
Klitschko looking forward to being called Dr. Klitschko in the near future when he gets his PhD thesis in sports sciences. He is a former physical training instructor, so he's not just another pretty face.
Don't be stationary. Don't be stationary. Don't be stationary, man.
He'll be the next fight doctor.
Now see, there was a nice jab by Sullivan, but 1 and out. 1 and out. He doesn't step in behind the jab. He's jabbing almost as if to just keep Klitschko off him a little more often, or get a little time to rest. But he needs a jab, follow it up.
That's the first good right hand he landed just then. Put it, instead of putting 2 jabs, put 1 jab and a right hand. And somebody's got to tell him to step up the action. The action is rather languid. It's not heavyweight action yet. Somebody in the corner's got to say, okay, that's 3 rounds now. Let's go get him.
The longer this fight goes, the better it gets for the champion Klitschko, because Obed Sullivan has had some stamina difficulty in the past. Does not always finish as strong as he starts. We're now only in round 3, but most of Klitschko's fights are already over by now.
And that's his problem, because when he gets into the bigger boys, he's going to have to learn how to go 12 or 10, and that's a different ball game than fighting six-round fights.
The crowd getting into it with some rhythmic applause, trying to urge on the Russian-born, German-based champion.
See there, when Sullivan slides to the side, slips 1 of the jabs right on top of his head, he needs to step in, rip a right uppercut to the body, come up to the chin, bang back with left hook. He's got to step forward and take a chance at landing clean and working Klitschko back. Has to make it pay.
Bring out.
Jab, man, jab.
And there's the bell to end round 3.
Again, Klitschko's keeping the fight at distance. Look at the distance, sticking the jab. Sullivan's not getting out of the way jab. There's a right hand that lands on the ear. Sullivan still consistently retreating. He cannot compromise Klitschko. This is a little bit inside. He comes inside. He throws a right hand. It's way wide and a left hook. Klitschko steps out and he doesn't push him back. There's the jab in his face, And what is Sullivan doing? He's not slipping or going around or underneath and stepping in. He's just moving away. Okay. He's not going to win this fight if he keeps moving away. He can't do it.
When he punches now, he's dropping that jab. If you come in with the jab behind it and throw a quick right hand, you'll catch him. He's missing you with the hook. Relax and start touching him up, but don't pull out.
Chuck McGregor with the words to Obed Sullivan, originally from Gulfport, Mississippi, now living in Phoenix, Arizona. Thus far, not much offense from Obed as we enter into round number 4. Once again, coverage provided in Germany by Premier for us on Showtime Championship Boxing. We thank the folks from Premier.
Even in Sullivan's corner, so when you miss that jab, you got to step over and step in with the right hand. Not just over, in. You have to get in because he's a big man, big legs. He's going to lean backward. Step in with it, make him pay.
At least he's doing what he told him. He said every time he jabs, you jab him back. Well, he's trying it. He's trying to do it. Not with much success, but it's better than what he was doing before. Look at that. 2 jabs and a right hand by Sullivan. At least he's trying.
Bird's eye view.
One thing I've noticed, when Klitschko gets punches thrown at him, he does retreat. He clearly does retreat, looks to get out of the way. We don't know yet what kind of chin he has. We haven't seen him really hit with a good shot, so that's going to be very important down the road.
And when they punch at him, he moves his head back like they try to teach people not to do.
You know, you mentioned the wingspan of Klitschko earlier, Ferdy. If you're 6'8", which Klitschko is, that equals 80 inches. A 79-inch reach is actually not that long for someone that height. It's Obed Sullivan who has the long arms with a similar 79-inch reach, and he's 6'3".
Are you going by the Bobby Chess rule of height? And give us that one again, Bobby. How tall?
We don't have time.
Generally speaking, within an inch or so, your height and your reach are similar.
There you go.
If you're perfectly proportioned.
But here is the key. Klitschko is using his jab far more effectively than Obed Sullivan.
Sure, all the height and reach in the world aren't worth a thing if you don't use them.
Yeah.
Sullivan is not using what he needs to, skills that he does possess, get inside and work.
You certainly don't get the impression that he's 6'4", do you? Sullivan.
Little combination there, gets a rise out of the crowd, but it really wasn't much from Klitschko. They're waiting for him to really turn it on.
They're ready for him to explode. They want to see some action here of the type that got him this kind of publicity and packed that hall. That hall's not there to watch this kind of pity pat. They want to see an action. They want to see a knockout here. It's not coming.
Well, he's provided many of those thus far in his pro career, which has been 3 years now. He's 26-0 with 26 KOs. The challenger, Obed Sullivan.
Reasonable right hand by Sullivan to the body. Doesn't come up with a left uppercut or a left hook. Steps back out. Now he's got to go all the way back to getting past that jab and close the gap. A lot more energy wasted.
Sullivan in the gold, former U.S. Marine boxing team member, highly ranked amateur. Turned pro in '92. Had a roller coaster start, went unbeaten in 25 straight. But in his 12th fight, he won the IBF Intercontinental title and broke into the world rankings. He made 7 defenses before losing a majority decision to Hasim Rahman in '97. 2 fights later, kept it close against Michael Grant before losing by 9th round TKO. And that's the end of round 4. Again, sort of a lackluster start here for Vitali Klitschko.
Wieder aufpassen, dass die rechte Hand nicht drüber geht. Tiefer ansetzen, müssen links hakeln oder zweimal und dann ergibt rechts.
Don't come up in the air. Look at me.
Stay level.
Do not stand the head up. Keep the knees bent. I don't want the head to come up and back. I want it here.
Sullivan
and here and here.
eating that jab, eating that jab, eating that jab. Now the right hand misses, but Sullivan does nothing in response. No counter. From the overhead, you're going to watch it again. Look at this reach. He's just stuffing that jab. The right hand misses, and that little short left hook misses, but Sullivan has no response. He loses the flourish.
Bisschen stimmen gleich gegenschlagen. Ja, fällt nach vorne rein, dann kannst du die rechte Overzeit schauen. Okay, noch schon.
Seconds out.
I believe we just saw Klitschko's trainer talking about a right uppercut, which would be very good at this time because of the way Sullivan's bending down to get out of the way of the reach.
Yes, boxing, the universal language. You picked up on that. Round 5, the champion Vitali Klitschko on the right of your screen. Hard to miss him at 6'8". Continues to use his jab effectively. Thus far, he seems to be pitching a shutout, winning all 4 previous rounds.
He's winning, but not impressive. He's the most impressive thing about him is anatomical, not boxing skills. He's big. That's impressive. He's fighting what I would call a mechanical fight. He doesn't seem to have the jive, the flow. He's very mechanical in the way he puts the jab on. He doesn't seem to be able to invent.
But even having said that, Freddie, he has compromised Sullivan so much that Sullivan, with all his Americanized moves, with his skills, which are good, I've seen him fight many times, has been able to do next to 0 against him. So in some ways, it's impressive enough.
Yeah, but admittedly, this guy's at the end of the road. Plus, the difference in size is great. I mean, so you got a guy that's at the end of the road and much smaller. So what's that?
I agree with you, Freddie. Sullivan, while he's had a couple of good marks next to him during the course of his career, is a journeyman fighter and perhaps above average journeyman fighter. And Klitschko should be having better success with him right here. He just missed with a wild right hand at Klitschko. Sullivan, a late starter in boxing. He served in the Marines, as mentioned, for 8 years where he learned to box. Klitschko with a straight right hand, perhaps his best punch of the fight.
You know that Klitschko's right hand isn't that good for his size and everything he has, the leverage he has. He doesn't throw that mean, that vicious or harder right hand.
Or
George Foreman in his younger days would show you what a right hand's meant like.
I hope not in your worst dream you can compare Foreman with this guy. Foreman was something else.
Just showing how to throw a right hand.
Nothing fancy about Klitschko.
1 minute, man. 1 minute.
As he continues to get inside on Sullivan there. Sullivan continues to back off and try to keep his distance. There's a pretty good overhead right, sneaky right hand there by Klitschko that got in. Another one off the top of his head.
I think that had some effect on him. He looked like he cinched a little bit on that one.
Those right hands on top of the head, they hurt badly. Getting hit on top of the head, especially the soft part, is a very vulnerable place for any fighter.
Yeah, it seems like Klitschko, with just 25 seconds left in the 5th round, is beginning to really find his range now. There's that left jab working effectively again.
That's the first time he looked like he's starting to get meanness into the thing. Two good hard jabs.
Keep moving. Hands up. Left up.
Things starting to heat up a little now, particularly in Klitschko's favor. Final seconds of round 5.
Nice lead right hand.
Good round for the champion, Klitschko, who came on for really the first time in the fight.
Nicht zu hoch worden. Naja, ist okay. Jetzt wird's. Nicht anfangen zu springen. So went out.
Who's the muffin?
You got it. Rough.
Joe, you have to look at this. The ref got it.
Nice straight right hand.
Joe.
Sullivan doesn't even move, doesn't even look to get out of the way of it. He hits him right in the jaw.
Look at it. Get
Another
your
look at it.
Ben.
Jabs out there. He drops his left hand. The right hand lands right in the jaw. Sullivan turns with it nicely.
By swelling or getting cut. It's a nick. It's nothing
Doesn't
bad,
seem
so
to
don't
be that
panic.
Sullivan can do what he needs to do at all here.
Hand up and drop that head on the inside now.
There's the belt that's being defended by Vitali Klitschko, his second defense. His first was against American Ed Mahone, a third-round TKO. He won the title from Englishman Herbie Hind with a second-round knockout in June. And the final words in the corner by Klitschko's trainer Fritz Sedunik. They're fighting this fight in Hamburg, Germany, Alsterdorfer Sports Hall. Body shot attempt there by Sullivan, but warded off by the champion, Vitali Klitschko. Klitschko 6'8", 245, 79-inch reach. He has created quite a stir already, but so far not extremely impressive here against an above-average journeyman by the name of Obed Sullivan in his first world title shot.
It would be very interesting to see Klitschko matched up with a 6'5", Lennox Lewis, 245, same weight, not quite the same height, probably the same reach, who has a considerably quicker and more useful jab, much more accurate, and he used it just as well, if not better than Klitschko. I'd love to see that type of matchup.
Yeah.
Once again, this fight being fed to us here in the United States by Premier in Germany.
I wonder if he has a sort of goal, you know, where he says, I don't let anybody go back past 6. I want to get this guy at 6, you know. I wonder if that's some kind of a border for him. Because if it is, it's time to put on the gas.
Well, this is the longest he's been, at least one time previous. Obed Sullivan doesn't look like he's going anywhere just yet.
Klitschko looks to be in pretty good shape, pretty fresh. It's only almost halfway through the fight, but he's not used to going this far. He's never been past the 6th round.
I'll tell you, I've seen guys that are similar in his height, 6'3", 6'4". A guy that's right now is not presently fighting, but I believe would beat Klitschko because he has similar size, power, speed, much more dorsals.
Pretty good combination there. The best flurry of the fight by Klitschko gets the crowd going, as you can hear.
Maybe he got mad. He heard me talk.
There you go.
Finish your thought, Bobby. Who?
A guy like Ike Ibiabuchi. Somebody who's told who jabs just as hard as fast.
You have to check his parole officer.
That's true.
There's a good right hand by Klitschko.
Best punch in the fight, Steve.
Yeah, it sent the challenger Sullivan back into the corner, and it certainly got his attention.
Part of the problem with a guy 6'8" is his size acts as a natural built-in defense too. He can outlean certain punches where he couldn't if he were shorter, and it's just so hard to move that kind of weight.
Here's a good left hand, a left hook to the jaw by Klitschko.
He's starting to rain bombs now. He's starting to connect now, and Sullivan's starting to fold.
Yeah, most of these punches are getting through the defense of Obed Sullivan, and there's another one, a left followed by an overhand right by Klitschko that connected.
Sullivan's not really offering up much in the way of a response. Blocking, moving, couple of jabs. Not even desperation right hands and hooks, that is just winging.
The first big breath he's taken. Klitschko.
Funny, Sullivan at 6'3", but Klitschko just towers over him. Another good round by the hometown guy, Vitali Klitschko.
You're giving him the right hand more and more, and you're straightening him knees up. Look at
Klitschko,
get your breathing.
just such a long jab, the height disparity. He can keep Sullivan at bay so easily. And Sullivan's just not been able to find anything to solve this.
When he's jabbing at you and
watch
coming
this.
at
Look
you,
at the size of that jab, the length on it. Right hand misses, but Sullivan doesn't respond and gets hit.
You got to step up with
Eats
the
the
jab
left
and
hook,
bring your right foot
walking
behind.
away.
Step up with the jab. Slide in
We're
low.
going to watch Sullivan eat
Don't
that
put it all the
left.
way in the chest. Stop it right here.
The hook follow
And
up.
let your hands go. Relax.
Just not enough punches,
Now listen,
not cutting down the
hit him with
distance,
the body
not gambling,
2 or 3.
not stuffing the jab. He's not doing some of the things he needs to.
All right, seconds out.
All right, we're halfway through this 12-round title bout. Fellas, pretty well guessed that Mr. Klitschko is firing a shutout here, but just for the record, unofficially, how do you see it?
A total shutout.
Yeah, I think it's got to be goose eggs across the board for Sullivan. He hasn't won a round yet.
Well, this is uncharted territory for Vitali Klitschko in the blue. He's never fought into round 7, all 26 of his previous fights ending by knockout as we enter round number 7.
And he doesn't look all that tired, but he hasn't absorbed a lot of punishment either, so...
Are you talking about Klitschko or
Klitschko,
Sullivan?
yeah.
Klitschko doesn't look tired. Why should he? He hadn't been hit at all. He hasn't been in a fight. He's been in a punching bag contest.
Very fresh. He doesn't even look like he's broken a sweat.
He's a physical instructor and so forth. He should be in good shape, but he hadn't done anything to get tired. And you got to get fight back. You got to be in a fight. Although he's taking a couple of deep breaths, which is really nice. That may be out of boredom more than
that's a telltale sign, huh?
Stifling a yawn.
Obed Sullivan has not offered up much offense here. It's been all Vitali Klitschko.
You know, I think that's one of the big keys, Steve. Even if Sullivan's getting beat, if he's firing back and landing, we could see what that type of damage would do and how Klitschko would react to that kind of onslaught, if it ever came.
There's a pretty good combination by the champion.
He's starting to land. If he could just get it together and get some killer instinct, some kick in the afterburners and go after this guy. He's just, you know, he's used to 1, 2, set back again, 1, 2, set back again. You know, what about 3 and 4 and 5 and 6?
Past the midway point of round 7.
His corner's hollering Sullivan, trying to load up, Load up. Hell, he can't even get close to him to throw it. What do you mean load up?
I think fear might have something to do with that. Fear of what might be coming his way if he does get too close to Klitschko.
Yeah, I think from the first bell, I think he's fighting a survival fight. I do not think he's fighting a competitive fight. Sullivan. He's there to survive, not to win this fight.
Now that, you know, he had to travel halfway across the globe to do it, and I don't know, home field advantage for decision process right here is not relevant, but he didn't have to travel. Klitschko, he didn't have to do anything. He's acclimated to the surrounding in this adopted country. I mean, he's happy there, and maybe Sullivan's not.
The crowd getting into the action here late in round number 7, exhorting the champion Klitschko. Combination to the body and head by Klitschko. Now again firing that shotgun jab, but doesn't follow it up with the right hand. Sullivan finally offering some offense up, but missing with a right cross. The rhythmic applause continues at Ulsterdorfer Sports Hall in Hamburg, Germany. Final seconds of round 7. The fight being completely controlled by Vitali Klitschko. Well, Showtime Championship Boxing rings in the new year with an exciting doubleheader on January 8th. One of boxing's most entertaining fighters, 3-time world champion Johnny Tapia challenges Jorge Eliezer Julio for his WBO bantamweight title. Also featured that night is the former heavyweight champion, the White Buffalo, Francois Botha. Catch all the action on Saturday, January 8th at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Also, Showtime Championship Boxing returns on Saturday, January 29th, when we present a night of firsts from Manchester, England. Former undisputed heavyweight champ Mike Tyson makes his long-awaited European debut against British Commonwealth heavyweight champion Julius Francis. Also on the card, Britain's undefeated rising star, the WBO super middleweight champion Joe Calzaghe, makes his first appearance on American television. That's Saturday, January 29th at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Showtime. Round 8 from Hamburg, Germany. Vitali Klitschko, 26-0, 26 knockouts. In the blue, defending his WBO heavyweight championship against Obed Sullivan, 32-5-1. A no decision, a no contest with 22 KOs. His first shot at a world championship.
Klitschko hearing for the first time that rhythmic clapping that is not encouraging. That's a criticism. That's a, hey, get it on. This is getting boring. I mean,
trying to spur him on a little bit.
The equivalent of our booing, or in Germany, when you clap slow like that, means get this thing started, start fighting.
And what you don't want to hear if you're a European fighter is whistling.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of booing.
That's bad, too.
You know, we've heard about all his knockouts, 26 fights, 26 wins, all by knockout. No one's gone past the 6th round till tonight. But he does not look to be, for 245 pounds, a devastating puncher. He just doesn't.
And I mentioned Julius Francis, who Tyson is scheduled to go up against on January 29th in England. Well, he's on the ring record of Vitali Klitschko in 1998. Klitschko TKO over Julius Francis in round 2 back in April of 1998. So he handled Francis pretty easily.
Well, I'm sure, too, with his size and his weight, just make for such a great combination to wear people down and just bust them up until they eventually quit.
So round 8 continues, nearly midway through, and it continues to be all Vitali Klitschko. There's a right cross by Klitschko that landed. Sullivan shakes it off.
But that was a good punch.
But it stung him.
There you go.
Left hook by Klitschko off the top of Sullivan's head. Sullivan just seems like he's continuing to survive here.
Yeah, as we said in the earlier rounds, he's not a competitive fighter, he's a survivor.
Cannot put yourself in a position to win at some point. Get your pound of flesh, take your shot. The glory makes no sense to me just by the nature of being a fighter.
He has had quality of opposition, talking about Obed Sullivan and the gold trunks, the challenger. He's fought all the young up-and-comers, including Michael Grant, Jefferson, Rahman. Conditioning is a strength of his. He said going into this fight that he was in the best shape of his career, but he knows that this is a golden opportunity, and he said, quote unquote, he will retire if he loses. And it doesn't look like the type of fighter who said those words before the fight.
Well, that also adds up. If you look at it, being beat by some of the best young fighters coming up, he's going to retire. It makes him appear to be a great trial horse toward the end of his fighting career for Klitschko. And right here, a little while back, Steve, when you were talking, Sullivan landed a good right hand, back Klitschko up, but didn't step to impress. Didn't check to see if it did any real damage. Just let Klitschko move off, as if to say, okay, you're not hitting me, I'm okay.
That was a good shot. That's a good action right hand. Another one.
You gave him a free right hand. Do you hear me? Give me some ice water.
Yeah, I will.
Ben, you had him beat that whole round. Here, give me this. And you gave him a free right hand at the bell. Take that. Breathe deep. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
You had him the whole round, and you stopped and froze, dropped your hand, and stuck your chin out. He's fine, Joe.
Okay, I just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to start taking any unnecessary punishment.
From the overhead, you look at a nice 1-2 landed by
Okay,
Klitschko.
deep breath.
Sullivan comes back, but
Right, Ben.
not enough. Just one or
That's
two. Again,
nothing left.
Klitschko keeping from the outside,
Swallow
keeping
one more.
Sullivan at the end of that jab. There's a
Ben.
double jab.
Don't pull
Keeps
your head
pulling it,
back,
sticking it out
and
there.
don't drop your
There's the
hand.
right hand to the ear, not real good.
Look at
The
me.
hook kind of
Please,
misses.
stop.
But
Move in
Klitschko
behind the
doing all the
jab
work.
And relax. Don't look at
I'm not exactly sure what fight Chuck McGregor is watching, the trainer for Obed Sullivan, saying you won that round. In any event, we go into round 9. Obed Sullivan got a good look from referee Joe Cortez between rounds.
Maybe Sullivan's trainer was doing like we've seen many do over the years, and that's try anything. Just to implore the fighter to come forward to give it a shot.
What are you going to tell him? He's doing terrible. He's losing. I mean, he tells him he's good, and then the referee comes in and says, "Is he all right?"
But you got to be realistic. You got to be.
After you just told your fighter you're winning.
Can you imagine Teddy Atlas doing that?
No, I can't imagine Teddy Atlas in this situation. He's too crazy.
No, Teddy would be screaming at Sullivan to do something, or let's just go home. Do something or quit.
He'd be showing him the cell phone saying, you want to know what the announcers are saying? Obed Sullivan needs to start getting inside or changing the shape of this bout without question.
And
well, there's a right hand by Sullivan,
but he stops. That's it, Steve. He doesn't take a chance that maybe it did something. Follow up with another 2 or 3, see what happens.
Just going to say he did not offer up a follow-up punch.
He's not fighting in rhythm. It's just 1-2 and then reset, 1-2 and then reset.
Even though Klitschko is the champion, by comparison of experience and people he's fought in numbers of fights, he's the rookie. Take a shot, make him rock the boat, it'll make him work at something he hasn't tried before, something he hasn't seen.
Well, Vitali Klitschko controls the only heavyweight championship not owned currently by Lennox Lewis. Lewis, the unified WBC, WBA, IBF heavyweight champ. Klitschko, WBO.
I think Klitschko's ready for that kind of action.
That's one of the questions going into this fight. Is he ready to step up and take on the best of the heavyweight division? And thus far, probably thumbs down.
I think he's got to get to the next level. Hard, experienced fighters who can take his punch and come back and test him. I mean, you know,
I think it's also extremely clear that Klitschko cannot fight an ounce going backwards. And Sullivan hasn't been able to push him backwards. Somebody like Lewis can.
Right now, he's going forward. And a pretty good offering there by Vitali Klitschko. A flurry all over the body and head of Sullivan. There's a good combination right left.
That left hook hurt, Steve. I could see it in his eyes.
It staggered Obed Sullivan momentarily.
The key word was flurry. At least he threw 4, 5, 6 punches. That's what you got to have. See, if he attacks him now, step in there and attack. You put this will be the end of the. This will be as far as it goes.
Yeah, you want to see more of a sustained attack by Vitali Klitschko. Final 30 seconds of round 9. Klitschko continues to come forward. The crowd again getting into it. There's Vladimir Klitschko standing up on the left of your screen in the background. His brother, the European heavyweight champ, former Olympic gold medalist, urging on his brother. Final seconds of round 9. Some heavy punches here by Klitschko.
Break up.
And there's the bell signaling the end of round 9. A very tough round for Obed Sullivan. Interesting to see the fan reaction there in Hamburg.
Sullivan misses, and Klitschko comes here now with a 4-punch, 5-punch, 6-punch combination, finally putting together some punches in bunches and hurt Sullivan more in that round than he has throughout the first 8 rounds. Looking at Sullivan here in a little bit of an ISO, eating one jab, right hand off the side of the head, another jab stuffed in his face. That's what it's been over and over again.
Well, this fight is over. Sullivan tells the referee, Joe Cortez, he does not want to continue. The fight is over before round 10 even begins.
Anticlimactic.
Very. And Sullivan didn't look too, he didn't look too thrilled, too disappointed. He looked like he was just aggravated.
So it is Auf Wiedersehen time for Obed Sullivan. Not only for this fight, but perhaps for his career, because he did state before the fight that if he loses, he'll retire. A TKO round 10 is the official word, and Vitali Klitschko has retained his WBO heavyweight championship and runs his record now to 27-0 with 27 knockouts. We are back live here at the Grand Casino Event Center in Tunica, Mississippi. Steve Albert back with the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco and Bobby Ches. I know, Ferdy, it's difficult to formulate an opinion based on one particular viewing, but how would you sum up in what you just saw, Vitali Klitschko's performance?
Well, I think the performance was disappointing because it was just not a good fight. I think I see a tentative fighter who's learning how to fight. I think as far as the vaunted punching power, if he couldn't get this guy even on the canvas, where is that punching power? So we've got a lot to learn yet about this young man. He's big. And if he has got a punch, he's got to show us. We haven't seen it yet. And so we're at the outer fringes of finding out who is this guy and can he fight on a bigger level.
Well, sometimes they say, what is it, opponents' styles make fights. Do you think perhaps if he stepped up and fought the best in the heavyweight division, that would make a difference?
I don't really think so, because what he had tonight in front of him was an Obed Sullivan that gave him the opportunity to look nothing short of perfect. His size, his weight, his strength, his power. He was interesting, borderline intriguing, but not compelling in any way. I don't think he showed real meanness, real aggressiveness. He didn't take the initiative and do what he needed to do. I think he just dragged things on. I'm not sure if he was worried about the distance, but I didn't see all I've heard about, at least right now.
Well, I guess we can say at least we're curious to see more of Vitali Klitschko and his brother Vladimir, the European champ, in the near future here.